Hello everyone. I don't know about all of you, but I am currently reeling. How can the world change in such a short space of time? I guess that this is what many people like to call a first world problem. I'm fortunate enough to have never really lived through a war situation, a famine or a drought, or a public health crisis like this before. I do remember the impact of the AIDS epidemic, and when we went to a war in Iraq, and 9/11. I also remember watching the news about natural disasters and widespread famine and getting involved with Live Aid and Sport Aid as we sought to feed the world. However, it feels a whole lot different being in the middle of a crisis and experiencing the anxiety, panic and real fear of all those around you, whilst being strangely cocooned for much of the time in the familiar surroundings of home. Many of you are closer to the front line than me, faithfully going to school and providing a safe place for the children of key workers and vulnerable children, so that those with the skills to do so can take their places on the front line fighting this virus, taking care for the sick and keeping the necessities of life going. I can't imagine how that feels. I just know that you are making tough leadership decisions every day, and sometimes will be thinking, I never signed up for this. This has led me a number of times this week to the story of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane on the evening that he was betrayed and arrested. In chapter 26 of Matthew, we find this account. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter and the two sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked. "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." It is topical as we enter Holy Week to be thinking about walking with Jesus to the cross. I often wonder how much he appreciated before this point that he was really going to need to die such a horrible death in order to bring in the new life offered by the kingdom. In this story, we see the anguish of someone wrestling with calling and duty. I think the fact that Jesus is in such anguish gives me and you permission to find the current situation hard and frustrating at times, despite knowing that you are doing the right thing for the children and families in your care. It's not necessarily a path that you would have chosen to walk. I know that many of you will be working throughout the Easter holidays, either in school or from home, ensuring that your provision continues to be open for those who need it. Please do take some time out for you and your family to refresh and recharge. I've attached a series of activities for Holy Week that you may want to use in school next week to share the hope of the Easter story. I'll be available throughout the holiday via email or phone. If you need to speak with anyone, please do give us a call. With many thanks for all that you are doing, and blessings and prayers from the DBE.